Almost done this, actually. I'm expecting to finish as much as I can finish today on stream of this backpack. Which is exciting, because then it'll be done and then I can actually move on to the first of those commissions that I mentioned. Today we're working on a lace backpack. So this is this flap of the backpack. Let me bring this to the side and you can hopefully see. So here's where I bound off, and this, all the way up here, so you can see it better if I flip the needles around, is this side. So as you can see, this is our backpack flap. We're actually pretty close to having this done. Now, well, I could do the button for the flap. Pretty much everything else is going to have to sit. I could do the button for the flap and the ribbing for the pockets now, but I'm going to leave that. And the reason why I'm going to leave that is because the ribbing for the pockets is going to go right next to the straps, and the straps have to wait until I order the buckle that I'll be using for this bag, because I have to order the buckles for it. So yeah, but that's what we're doing today, is we're going to be working on this. I expect to finish this. I'm on row 10 and need to go to row 18 and then do some garter stitch editing, so I expect to finish this, which I'm very, very excited about. But yes, like I said, today's backpack knitting, and I'll probably finish this backpack, which is exciting. Well, I won't finish it, I'll get it as far as I can. Like I said, what I need with it is I need to be able to have work with it with the buckle linings, because I have to, I know the rough measurements of the buckles, like it does give me measurements, but that's in millimeters, and I work better being able to see it, like, and hold it in my hand and go like, hey, that's how this works. No, I have the buckle measurements that I want to use for this, but it's just a case of I want to see that it all goes together. It's going to take some fiddling to do what I want to do, and part of it's going to be how wide are the straps. And it's easier for me to simply swatch and see if it works, rather than, did I miss a stitch here? I feel like I did. Let's see backtrack from what I have with those chair loads. So that would be row 5, row 7. Yeah, there should have been an extra yarn over here. I'm going to double check my chart when it loads. It's actually fixable, and I don't even have to ravel back very far, but I missed a yarn over when I was working on row 11. So there's actually a bunch of stuff that I messed up here. I really was not paying very much attention, was I? 5 is the cables. Row 7 is 1 yarn over. Row 9 is 2 yarn overs. The cable. Row 7 is the first yarn over set. Row 9 is the second yarn over set. So like I said, I'm just looking at this trying to figure out what the heck I've done here. I think I'm on a right side row. I am foolish. Well, Stitch Mastery also loaded, so now I can check. So it looks like actually I'm just foolish and was trying to work on the wrong side of the chart, because that'll do it, won't it? So after we finish the backpack, I'm going to be doing some actual design work on the leg warmers, because the commissioned leg warmers, it is my necessity of innovation pattern, but the person requested a smaller ankle. And I've learned a lot about grading since I've done this particular course, since they made this particular pattern. And one of the things that's there is that I know how to grade better for larger leg sizes. So I'm going to be doing that and rewriting the leg warmer pattern as I do this sample. And then what I'll do is I'll offer both versions. It'll be the original version, the wide leg version, and then the new version will be the narrower legged version. And yeah, so that's going to be a thing. I'm going to be borrowing some of the sizing data from my Luckenbach socks, and because that'll help immensely, because I did the same kind of shaping and sizing there, just as knee highs rather than full leggings. So, adventures. I find I'm actually enjoying commission work. It's a little nerve-wracking because I'm not knitting for me, so I'm always like, oh, so many things could go wrong. But so far, I'm actually really enjoying the commissions. I have a massively dropped stitch down here. I have 2 massively dropped stitch down here. Oh boy. Well, hello. I have majorly dropped a stitch. That's fun. Oh boy. I have majorly dropped several stitches. This is going to be great fun. Okay. Let me fix this. Oh man, I am really not doing very well with this. I dropped a whole bunch of stitches. That's really not good. It's all fixable, just ugh. Okay, wow. I have no idea how I lost this many stitches, but I did. So we're gonna fix this. Yay, alright. So for row 12, I should have 7 stitches along this swath of stitches here, between the cables. So we're gonna try and bring that up to speed. So this is 2, 4, 6. So this one here doesn't have to be increased or decreased or anything. Okay, so we're gonna pick this one up, and we're gonna work this one. So I didn't notice I dropped them, so they managed to unravel quite a ways. Adventures! But not unfixable adventures. So basically, you just pick up the strands one by one, and then as you go up, you can also use a crochet hook for this, which is what a lot of people recommend. I don't happen to have one in hand, so I'm just doing it with the needles. Crochet hook does make this easier. It's going to be decreased into our cabling later. So, and that'll be decreased on row 7. So row 10, 9, 8, 7. Okay. That one is where it needs to be. Okay. So I'm going to take these two stitches out because they're formed by yarn overs, and it'll be easier for me to see this and rework it as I work it this way. So 10, 9, 8, 7. This is 6. Perfect. All right. So basically, what I'm doing is I know that I'm working on row 12, with these being row 11. So row 11, row 10, row 9, row 8. It's actually row 7. Okay. Since I'm right now on the wrong side of the work, I'm going to flip this around, then I'm going to come at this way. I was babbling about commission prices and fast fashion, and then I managed to drop a whole bunch of stitches, so now I'm fixing that. So, row 11, row 10, row 9, row 8. So this is row 7. Okay. This one here. So now we're just going to work this across on the right side, because it's just a little easier to do that. So, we're going to bring our yarn up and over for the yarn over. We knit it into our first stitch. Well, this part's actually being knit flat. So hang on, let me come back to the screen and I'll show you. So this part was knitted around, and you can see like the bag ends, and then you've got this flap up here. It's probably best. So here's my cast off edge, and then this flap's going to fold forward. So the part I'm doing is actually knit flat right now. But the bag started in the round because it's just easier. Then we're going to take our row 8 thread, we're going to purl the yarn over we just made, which is a little bit fiddly because it's going to be... Then we're going to knit our 2 stitches here. Alright, so I actually have messed up a little bit. I need to take this stitch 1 row down. It's fine, we can do that. Correction, 2 rows down. This stitch gets decreased. So, slide these back across. I'm thinking this looks terrifying. You basically are just knitting it as you go, just with each strand that's fallen down. It's tricky, but it's not impossible. 8, row 9, row 10. So this should be row 8, which is just going to be worked across, and that's totally fine. So row 9, we're going to work this again. So we're going to purl, we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to bring our yarn forward and purl very awkwardly. Knit this stitch, and work these two together. It's a SSK. Slip that back. There we go. So basically, as I said, I've got 2 strands here. So this is the top strand is row 11 because I was working on row 12. So row 11, row 10. So my row 10 row, well, what I do there is I do exactly what I normally do. So I purl the yarn over. 1, 2, 3. I didn't purl the yarn over, I knit the yarn over. So let's fix that. Now, for the last one, the row 11, I do exactly again what I would normally do. So yarn over. Oh wait, that actually is a mistake. So I'm gonna have to take this back. Okay, so 11, 10, 9. So this is 7. So we got our yarn over here, and then we're going to purl it into row 8. And what I did was I put the yarn over in the wrong spot while I was fixing. Purling into yarn over like this is a little bit more tricky just because of the way the yarn's set up, so just bear with me for a second. So now that I've done this stitch, I'm going to bring this one all the way up. So I'm going to, because it just is easier that way. So 1, because this is where it's supposed to be. 2. Now whenever you do this, your tension will be wonky. There is no way around that. So if you're ever doing this kind of laddering and you're like, oh no, my tension looks terrible, that's normal. It won't usually fix itself till you block it, and that's just normal for this kind of thing. And then, almost success. Yarn over. This stitch shouldn't have worked, so we're taking this one out. Knit 1, SSK, and success. I have the proper number of purl stitches afterwards. I have the proper number of what looks like the proper number of purl stitches in general. I'm just reorienting them all. And yay, there we go. Like I said, my tension looks a little bit weird, but that's just going to be kind of the nature of the beast because that's what happens with these. So now that I'm working on row 12, I can flip this back around and do the things. Alright, so that derailed me a little. I was going to, I was like, oh, I'll probably finish this stream, and now I may not because it took a while. But that's okay. this is row 12, so we're just gonna fix this. So if I don't finish this on stream, I'm going to get very close, because I only need to get to row 18 of this pattern to now have my flap of the sweater done. Or sweater, good lord, backpack. I actually I'm finding I'm enjoying commission knits. So they're a more immediate influx of cash, yes, but they're also make me like think about stuff, and I really do enjoy it. So let me check my chart. So this is row 13. This is our last, like, basically set of decreases before we do our cable. Oh, and speaking of wonderful autocorrect fails, so I was working on a pattern, and the computer corrected degrease, like as in, or decrease, like the to decrease the stitch, to degrease, like as to like degrease something, I mean, washing it. And I was just like, I didn't catch it. And then I'm like, oh no, that's not right. That's not right at all. So I sent it off to my editor like that, which was really rather embarrassing. The joys of being a self-publishing artist when you get those kind of mistakes. Like, it is the most, I've had some of the most hilarious and horrible, whoa crap, I'm so glad I have an editor mistakes. Another one on that one is when I put a pattern up, and it was good to go, and at least I thought it was. And then my editor went, yeah, you have no cast off. And I went, you're right, I don't. Editors are, I think they're honestly kind of divine beings. Because they save you so much trouble. Like, seeing all the, the edit marks, not the greatest, but just, like, it's better that the editor finds them than a customer. And my editor's awesome, by the way. She's like, yeah, no, if it doesn't suit your style or you have a reason for doing it this way, like, it's a conversation, not, you did it wrong, which is great. Which is anyway you want a tech editor, by the way. If you ever get a tech editor who's like, you did this wrong, how dare you, get a new tech editor. It always should be a conversation of, this doesn't make sense, or there's a wording issue here, here's, it should always be a conversation. But no, the degrease row still has me chuckling a number of years later on that particular mistake, because, oops. Because yes, let's decrease the knitting. Well, you have to, lanolin is actually pretty greasy, but not in that way, no. Yeah, no, you need to get an editor who is not just going to yell at you that you did it wrong. You need to get an editor who's like, hey, what's your style sheet? Hey, did you intend this? Actually, I'm trying to think, like, yarn under with crochet. Okay, you got me thinking, because I'm trying to visualize how that looks. And I can't do it. So now I'm like, what? Uh-oh. Alright, so I'm gonna, because you've distracted me, because it's totally doable, I'm gonna Google yarn over with crochet while the ad break plays, because I want to know what this is now. So I looked it up, and it turns out I actually yarn under as well. I found out, like, years after I started knitting that I twist my pearls, so I mean, like, this is not, not completely, like, yeah. But yeah, no, apparently I also yarn under when crocheting. I'm gonna have to pay more attention to that. I did not know that was a thing. I'm completely self-taught in crochet from, like, YouTube. I learned how to chain and slip stitch, but that's it. I found out that I do twist my pearls if I'm not paying attention. So my mom taught me chain stitch before she passed away. The rest was patterns learned to crochet books, which I did a little bit of, not much. I was more teaching myself to knit. I really only got into crochet, like, 2019-ish. So I'm on row 13. When I get to row 18, we will start the garter stitch border. I have a button for this flap. It is a ginormous button. It's, like, huge. It's handmade. I got it at a festival a number of years ago, I believe. I won it, actually, like, one of their swag bags. And it's ginormous, and it was only one, so I knew it had to be, like, an accent piece for, like, a bag or something, because it's only one giant button. And so the plan is to do the top of the backpack flap, and then have it come down and do an I-cord loop to hold this ginormous, awesome blue button. I don't have it hands, or I'd fish it in my button jar. And then the buckles I'm going to be ordering. And the straps are going to be garter stitch held double, but I'm going to wait until after I get the lining in, because the lining is going to change how the fabric sits. So I want to get the lining in before I do the straps. So here I was like, oh, I might be able to finish this today, but with the raveling down I had to do, not gonna happen. Because when I finish the flap, I'm gonna put this aside, and then I want to get the lining in. But patrons are voting on the lining, and I also have to go order the buckles for this. So this is gonna take a brief back seat while I work on some commission stuff. What did I do with this stitch? Because this stitch is not correct. Oh, I see what I did. We're gonna fix this. There we go. Is this going to lean the right way, or do I have to argue with it? There. Yay, all fixed. There we go. Oh! I keep trying to do the yarn overs when there aren't any yarn overs in this row. My brain is getting ahead of itself. Here we only got three more rows in the garter edging left on this thing, so I'm excited by this. Okay, so this should have been a purl stitch, but I can fix that without too much trouble. Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish this row, and then it'll be time for me to go top up my drink, because it is saying 32 now, but it is still ridiculously humid, and I keep trying to do, that is not a decrease. No, brain, that is a cable, not a decrease. So I will finish this row, and then I will top up my drink because it's getting, like I said, I am getting pretty thirsty out here. I'm actually just drinking, it's actually a tea blend a friend of mine gave me. It's a blend of black tea with orange flavoring. It's pretty simple, but it works just fine. Like, I think this probably won't be my transit knitting anymore once I get to the parts, like, putting the various parts into it. I did it again. I keep yarn over and trying to do decrease, and in this row there's no decreases, just the cable, and I keep doing that. And I will remember one day, or I'll finish the row and it'll be moot. So I only have 2 more rows to go on this flap. Then I'm gonna have the garter stitch bottom border. I'm gonna do a bit of shaping on it, and then this will get put aside and I'll do some commission work.